1, 2, 3, 4. Chop, chop, chop.
It's cure of the what now?
Gather the ingredients.
Cure of the what now?
Not much time to prep before it's time to start the show.
Oh!
Guests are arriving.
Cure of the what now?
Everybody's smiling.
Cure of the what now?
A tasty party starting. Now it's time to go. Woo!
Ooh, served hot and fresh.
Itadakimasu. Hello, fellow freakish fox people, and welcome to episode
29 of Cure of the What Now? Yum! Season 2.
the one show where we know, always be yourself. Unless the you that you are sucks, then just be somebody else.
In the Precure universe, nobody sucks. We're all wonderful sparkle children, except for Narcistoru. He can get punched in the dick.
What about Jaku King?
I mean, he's not really a person. He's just like an amalgamation of evil, but
He's
he's
a force.
also not really...
He doesn't have a dick to punch, but if he did, we could punch him in the dick also.
Absolutely, yes, of course.
Indeed, indeed. Illusio actually deep down was a person. He was like, I'm not a person. They were like, you have feelings though.
Group hug. He's like, I'm not going to your stupid therapy. I'm not working through my issues.
I love it.
But normally we introduce ourselves. So who are you?
My name is Kat, and I absolutely would not want to get rid of my ears and tail if I were a fox person. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? I would walk around, I'd be like, ha ha, look at you with your naked butt. Look at me, I've got a fluffy tail, I'm wagging it. Fuck you.
I would say that you would have to be worried about it getting caught in like doors and stuff, but like other than that, it's a win-win.
The limbs that I have get caught in doors.
Okay, yeah, that's
Like, I'm an incredibly
true.
clumsy person. It's not like I'm not injuring myself as I am. I might as well be cute.
Absolutely. I'm your co-host Joel, and I am a robot who is finally starting to understand that food can brrr.
Oh no. Don't worry,
Tell
I've got
my-
a backup stone.
Tell the microwave appliance that I love her.
Oh god. I'm sorry, I just envisioned the passion between the microwave and Spiritoru.
Oh,
and
I see. Yeah,
that was
yeah,
a
yeah.
cursed thought.
Absolutely. The microwave comes home from a long day after work and just like, man, I messed up. I tried to de-thaw the chicken, but even though I tried my best, the human took the chicken and took a bite and it was still cold in the middle. And Spiritoru is like, you can do it. Ooh, ba-za, ooh, ooh, ba-za, ooh. And then the microwave feels better.
Yeah, and then it cooks the chicken.
And then it cooks the chicken properly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Spiritoru. This is the part of the episode where I would usually apologize for us being late again, but when you say I'm sorry, what it means is I understand what I've done is wrong, and I will endeavor not to do it again. At this point, there is no we endeavor not to do it again, so I won't apologize. I will just say Splatoon 3 came out last weekend, and I was really into doing that and nothing else. And then Nona the Ninth came out, and I'm not going to do other things when there's a new Locked Tomb book.
Absolutely. So I do feel bad, but I'm not going to guarantee you it won't happen again. We're two amateur podcasters who are doing their best to get out weekly episodes, but sometimes that's early in the week, sometimes it's later in the week.
Absolutely.
So, really quick, the episodes that we watched, do I do this before or after the discussion? No, the lead-in discussion is more important.
All right, let's do the lead-in discussion.
Do we have any lead-in discussion, like prompts that we want to go through?
If one of the Precure were going to murder you for hitting the table and shaking the mic, which Precure would
I
do
didn't hit the table, I didn't hit the mic! It's not me!
I'm just kidding. It'll be really funny if that doesn't actually get picked up on the mic and I just yelled at you for no reason.
I think that's what's going to happen, but there have been many times where I thought that I didn't make a sound, and then editing Joel realizes, oh no, there was a sound. There was a thump.
Okay, but for a discussion question this week, we are out of town for a wedding, and there are many theories that the next season might be wedding-themed, so hit me with your best shot. What are you thinking a wedding-themed season of Precure would look like?
I think because you need something that can be used episodically, right? So it can't be like the main character dreams of some... I mean, the Pink Cure probably absolutely has her own ideas about what her wedding will look like. She probably believes in love, she probably believes in the sanctity of marriage or whatever, but you probably wouldn't have the season be she's preparing for her own wedding, A, because of her age, and B, that's like a one-off event. So the best way to do it, I think, is if one of them was like a wedding planner or something like that. You could have a wedding planner character, you could have a matchmaker character, you could have like a catering specialist kind of a character that kind of runs into Delicious Party, but then when they have their movie crossover, they could get along on that, you know? And then one of them could be a DJ. That could be the yellow here who's just full of energy, but constantly is playing like techno and hip hop and what's the other one? Dubstep. That's the one I was thinking of.
Surprise best girl. It's too bad Papaya wasn't better, because then we could have had a yellow best girl 3 seasons in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. Not throwing any shade on anyone who does like Papaya. She just didn't hit us the right way.
Yeah, which is funny because hitting is her main thing.
Okay, so do you have any thoughts on any of that?
I think the villains would be affecting the feelings between people. So Precure seems to try to stay away from romance by and large. There's occasionally a little bit, and some of the older seasons have a lot more. Like, there's full-on kisses in some of the old seasons.
Sure.
But modern Precure seems to stay away from a lot of the romantic feelings. But if you were going to have it be based on weddings, I think it would be about those connections between people and our feelings for one another. And so I think the villains would be like creating strife.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they could harvest the hate balls.
The negative, the fighting energy basically between them. I really like that. I like the idea that some of these episodes would be about, like I said, there'd be like a matchmaker or a character who's like really interested in kind of like Momo's Own Love, actually. And so you could have some episodes that are about kind of like setting up a new couple. You could have some episodes that's about a couple that's been dating for a long time and maybe they're having some kind of an issue that's appropriate for the age group. And then you could have some episodes, big special episodes that are like weddings or something like that. I've also noticed that a lot of the girls throughout the seasons have at least like one member of each team usually has like parents that are involved in sweets or donuts or baking or cooking in some way. And so I think that the main Pink's parents could be wedding cake designers. I think that would be really neat. That.
One of them could have a family who does like flowers.
Yes, absolutely.
See, that also feels like a Pink thing to me, but I think either way, you know?
Sure. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really cool. You could have, their transformation items could be like little bouquets or something like that.
Oh, that would be so cute. We know that Precure loves to use like makeup compacts as a transformation item.
Sure.
That's been in a couple of seasons. It was even in Kira Kira.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because Kira Kira had nothing to do with makeup otherwise. But that's a big part of weddings, so you could have a little makeup compact.
Do women not wear chocolate mascara and, like, cupcake-flavored lipstick when they're trying to dress up for fancy events?
No.
Oh. Well, I misunderstood. I have been eating your lipstick for the past 3 years thinking that it was chocolate. It didn't taste like chocolate, but I figured maybe it was like European, you know, like has a slightly different like level of sugar in there.
So you were just trying to see if you could get used to it?
Get used to it, yeah,
your
absolutely.
Tastes weren't sophisticated enough? Yeah, stop eating my lipstick. It's like $30 a container.
Absolutely. I think that's just about everything.
It was a beautiful discussion question. You want to tell our fine folks which episodes we watched?
So what we watched was the latest episode of Delicious Party, which was episode 27. We watched 2 episodes of Doki Doki, 19 and 20, and Doki Doki Glitter Force, we watched episode 14. The succinct summary, I will start in the order that they're listed on my list. They're written on my list is the way that you say that.
God, I love Scrumbled Joel on drugs. He's not actually
I'm not on drugs.
He's not. His brain just doesn't work.
Delicious Party 27. There's kind of like 2 plots going on at the same time, but basically Ran is really interested in kind of like inventing stuff. So she sees some kids playing with like a bubble wand and she goes, what if I could do that but with candy? And it doesn't work the first time, but she decides that she's going to try to improve the design. And so while she's doing that, Amane and Kokone are helping her, and the other story, the B story, I guess, or maybe the A story, but Kome Kome has befriended Ran's little sister and little brother who we have met. Their names are Rin and Run. And so Rin is closer to Kome Kome's age, and, you know, they're both girls, so they seem to be getting along really well. She compliments Kome Kome's ears and tail, and Kome Kome gets embarrassed and is like, hey, Ran, if you're inventing stuff, can you invent a way for me to not stand out? Can you just get rid of the ears and tail? And Ran eventually is like, you know what? People used to kind of think that I was a weirdo, but then I learned to embrace it, and the people who really care for me believe in my weird things. If I started a podcast, a panda-themed cupcake review podcast, my friends would support me. And so eventually Kome Kome realizes that she also wants to be supported and that these kids like her tail and ears, which I thought was kind of obvious. And then Spiritoru shows up, and he starts arguing about how pointless food is. And they start arguing back with some facts and logic. And they're about to convert him to like, oh, maybe these girls actually have a point. But right before he can reach that conclusion, he's unplugged. Narcistoru shows up and pulls the delicious stone out of his receptacle, the chest area, and he puts it inside of a new bento box thing that they use to create the Ubazows, and that's where the episode ends.
So, our first big two-parter.
Yeah, I think so. And then in Doki Doki, episode 19, one of my favorite episodes in the series so far, Regina shows up. She says, hey girls, you have 4 of the royal crystals. I have 1 of the royal crystals. We both want all of the royal crystals. What if we challenge each other to a rap battle? No, just kidding. What if we played some games and whoever wins gets to keep all 5? There's some internal debating about whether they could trust Regina or not. Mana decides to trust Regina. They get transported to an alternate dimension inside of a disdain where they play. The first one they do is bowling. No, the first one they do is soccer. They play like one person shoots, one person from the enemy team is the goalie. They play a game of bowling, but only 1 frame per bowler, so 4 frames per team. And then the final is a dodgeball game.
And surprise, they cheat.
Yeah, surprise, Regina cheats, and she kind of tries to find ways to undermine their power, but the girls use the power of teamwork to overcome the thing, and they save the day. But then it looks like Regina might not give back the royal crystals. There's some 2 wolves going on right now. One wolf wants to be friends with Mana and selfless. One of them wants to keep the royal crystals, screw them over, and be selfish. And eventually, she ends up getting all 5 crystals through shenanigans. As they're leaving the dimension, they drop the gems, and Regina catches them. And then, in episode 20, they fly away. And they go and they try to find where they went, and they're all like the Precure team, Joe's there, and also the Disdain generals are there. And they're not sure what's happening. A crevasse opens up, and Mana and Regina fall in, and the rest of the team of the Precures have to go save them. But while they're down there, Regina's eyes have turned from red to blue when she actually says, here, Mana, you can have the royal crystals back. And they learn a valuable lesson about friendship. Mana says, you can apologize to the other girls. When Makoto shows up, she basically is like, hey, Regina, I don't like you. I will never like you. You're not invited to my birthday party, but Mana likes you, so we can be Facebook friends. But then the bad guys show up, the Disdain show up, the Mercenares, and they kidnap both Regina and the Queen, who was frozen under this mountain all this time, and that's where the episode ends. So we've got some powerful cliffhangers in these 2 series that we're currently watching.
We do. It's funny that they kind of lined up like that.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about Delicious Party.
Okay.
So, you didn't really... I guess I should say first, did you like this episode?
I liked it all right, yeah.
Okay, I thought it was a cute episode. I really like Ran, and I like that Kome Kome is like, you're the one who wants to make people smile, so you're who I'm going to come to for help.
Yes. It's kind of like how I pointed out that we expected each of the royal crystals in Doki Doki to have an episode dedicated to each girl. We had a Makoto episode, So it's almost like Kome Kome is doing that now, where she's having last episode, she bonded with Kakone. In this episode, she bonded with Ran, and I wouldn't be surprised if next episode she bonds with Amane as part of her continued development, because I think she grew older / got a new form again this episode. But yeah, I think it's a cute episode, and you liked it.
I did. I thought it was cute. You had a problem with it. You said, Ran's sister was like, oh, your ears and tail are cute. And then Kome Kome was upset. Why was she upset? And my take was she didn't realize that it was something that stood out until it was commented on. And then she had the do not perceive me juice.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on how you want to look at the metaphor. If it's something like she has green eyes and most people in this area have blue eyes or something like that, and they're like, wow, your eyes are so pretty. that doesn't feel like it should make you self-conscious. But if it's something like, you know, if you're born with a deformity, if you have like a birthmark or something, or maybe you don't have one of your limbs, you know, maybe you're only born with one arm, I could see that being embarrassing when someone points it out. And Japan's a very collectivist, kind of like go with the flow, you know, don't let the...
I would say homogenous, yeah.
Homogenous, that's right. And so I could kind of understand it being more important to the Japanese culture, but I just thought it was silly, like, someone coming up to you and being like, wow, your hair is so pretty or whatever, and then you're just like, I have to shave off all my hair right now.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember this is a country where kids go to school, and if their hair is the wrong color, they get notes sent home to their parents.
Yeah,
and they have to prove that, like, it's their actual hair. So I could see this being relatable for the people actually watching the show where the show is made, you know?
Absolutely.
I have a difference that's obvious enough that somebody commented on it. This is the end of the world. I just want to be like everybody else. But like I said at the beginning of the episode, I think Kome Kome is cute.
Yeah, Kome Kome is super cute, and like we live in a world where, you know, you and I and a lot of other anime people and a lot of other people who don't watch anime, they think the, you know, the animal ears are kind of cute, you know, as an accessory or whatever. And Rand did invent like a belt attachment and a headband so that they could all pretend to be Kome Kome, and that's actually what gets Kome Kome to realize, like, oh, they actually do like me. Cool.
That was so cute. Oh gosh. And then Kokone grew up more at the end of the episode, and Rand's sister was like, you look like a big sister now. And that was the end of it. There was no, like, why are you so much taller?
Well, there was a moment
older?
where Rand was confused, or not confused, she was worried. They're like, oh no. But then, the, you know, kids in these sorts of, in pre-cure, they kind of accept things better than adults could. You know, if, Yui's mom saw Kome Kome suddenly just, like, sprout up 3 inches or something, I think she would be a little like, what?
Do you think Kome Kome is going to catch up to where the girls are in terms of age?
That seems to be the only possibility, right? It seems like the movie is leaning into being about the energy fairies and maybe them becoming, like, bigger parts of the team. I'm trying to avoid direct spoilers, but, like, I think the movie's going to be where it happens, where she basically is like a clone of Yui a little bit.
Yeah, and we should say this episode was kind of a big lead into the movie. The ears that Ran invents are gifts that you get at the theater. I'm still super jealous, actually. And then also Kome Kome needed to be bigger for the events of the movie to make sense.
Ah, okay, yeah. So, yeah, that's really interesting, and I cannot wait to see that movie. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Now, one thing about this episode.
Oh, no. We have to talk about it.
We have to talk about it. And, like, listen, it's just Rand's a silly girl who comes up with, like, random metaphors. This has been a known character trait. But just the word choice. She says, I want to swoosh down the milky cream slide at one point when they're eating ice cream, I think.
I heard her say this, and I paused the episode, and I went, no. No, don't say that. No, baby.
Well, and the show's for younger people who, like, you know, just like, whatever. It's just funny words. Swoosh is a fun, you know, verb kind of a thing. But yeah, I just...
Listen, I lived through the My Little Pony fandom. And a lot
You escaped the brony wars. You're a veteran.
A lot of Western fans of Precure are adult men. And I just don't need them reading that and making, you know, like, art and fanfic in line with the joke. Like, nope. Let's just keep Precure wholesome, please, and thanks.
See, I just wanted to read the quote and laugh, but now you've actually spoken evil. You've explained, like, here's what you've got to do if you want to make the world a slightly worse place. You need to take this phrase. You need to go to a guy. You need to...
Hum me it all out. Just hum me it all out. Just,
Absolutely. I will also say another one of Rand's metaphors when they're having some ice cream that Rin, Run, Kome Kome and Yui made together. She says something about, like, it's like a penguin is having a snowball fight with a polar bear, and they do a little animation where Rin is dressed up as a penguin and Kome Kome is dressed up as a polar bear, and that's just super adorable. I really like Kome Kome. I think as a onigiri fox, she's okay. She's not the best, but in her human form, she really has a lot more personality.
absolutely. And I love that she can talk now.
Yes, absolutely.
She's not a Karurut.
Yes. We have one more thing. No, we have two more things that we have to talk about that are kind of foreshadowing for later episodes. When Rin and Kome Kome are talking, she says, oh, my name is, and she does the full name, Glycinerin, Kome Kome the second. And as soon as they said that, I was like, the second? Hang on a second, what does that mean? And then literally 2 seconds later, Rin says, the second? Who was the first? And Kome Kome goes, I don't really remember. And Pam Pam, who's kind of like peeking in on them, I think she was going to ask for like help or something. She starts walking away and she goes, oh yes, I remember Kome Kome the first. So my theory, and I guess we talk about, what's going to happen in future episodes later, but my theory is that the original Kome Kome was the one who made the special delicious stones. Because what Mary said was they no longer exist, and it's weird that you would use that phrase, because, like, if it was a living person, you would say they died. And if they're still alive, you would say they're gone. You wouldn't say they don't exist.
Right, but, and to clarify, we asked our resident Japanese speaker, Ayu, yes, hey, what did they actually say here? And Ayu said, it basically translates to they aren't around anymore.
Sure. So they could be like hanging out in the forest, and just they've shunned society. But I think it's possible that maybe there's a reincarnation thing going on. Pam Pam and Mem Mem are older, and why would they be? Unless the Kome Kome the first, used up all of their rice energy or something, and then reverted back into a baby form, and she's now trying to, like, catch up. So I think that's very interesting.
Absolutely. I think you're probably right that the first Kome Kome was whoever did the special stones. I went to look up her name just to be like, is Godats any part of this name? It's not, but there is a G word in it. The word glycogen is in there. So,
interesting.
I guess we'll see. Because, a cat is pretty close to a fox.
Really?
They've both got pointy ears. They've both got pointy noses. I'm just saying, this whole time we thought Godats was a cat. Maybe Godats was a fox.
It'll be revealed that he's actually just like a giant bear.
If he's a bear, we riot. We end the podcast. We fly to Japan. We find the CEO of Toei, and we say, "Sir,
Mr. John Toei."
We disagree.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing that I feel that we have to touch upon in the completeness of the episode. Secretoru is talking to Spiritoru. Oh, and by the way, AU confirmed that it's actually Secretoru, like based off of a secretary rather than secret. I think secret makes more sense with the evil gang, but also she is performing secretarial duty, so that also makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I assumed it was like a play on both.
Yeah, okay, I like a combination.
Mm-hmm.
But she's talking to Spiritoru, and Spiritoru is explaining, like, I don't even see the point in eating food. What's the point of togetherness? Blah, blah, blah. And Secretoru basically is like, these are thoughts that were programmed into Spiritoru, so are these Narcistoru's true thoughts? And I just think it's interesting that we're getting a little bit more about Narcistoru's personality, because, he built a robot, and then he kind of, like, effed off, and we haven't seen him. We haven't even mentioned his name until this episode. And I was wondering, like, what's he up to? Is he going to be defeated? And it turns out he's inventing, like, the Bento Box 3.0. But I think it's interesting that we're learning more about him. I think it's about time that they punch him so hard that the mask explodes. And he either is reformed, or he disappears into the Dark Realm to never be seen again, except briefly mentioned in the sequel series.
Yeah. No, I would not be opposed to the next level of villainy. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
We've had Narcistoru for a while. Let's defeat him and move on to either Secretoru or
another unknown character or something like that. And with the movie coming up, I know the movies usually don't impact the story too much because there might be some children who miss an episode and then see the movie and get confused, or vice versa. But I think it would be interesting if they timed the quote-unquote real villain with the movie. Like, after the movie comes out, then you go back and watch the episodes, and now you're facing, like, an even more menacing threat.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really curious about the movie. I wish so badly that it were also getting simulcast, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great. Or if we could speak Japanese and take time out of our schedule to just, like, fly over, watch it, and then come back.
Right? Man, that would be so cool. The One Piece podcast folks went to Japan a little while ago, I think when the last movie came out, and they got to do all the cool One Piece things. So I want to go do cool Precure things.
Absolutely. Have an actual legitimate miracle light that we can wave around.
Yes!
Pretty cure! Pretty cure!
Pretty cure! Pretty cula?
Absolutely.
Did you have any other delicious party thoughts before we move on to Doki Doki?
I'm sure there's something, but not at the moment. I can't think of anything.
All right, so Doki Doki Dreams, Kiramaku.
Kiramaku? Yes.
I don't actually know the words to that song other than Doki Doki Dreams, so I'm going to stop before AU sends me a message like, did you know you said the words wrong? Yes, I do. Did you like Doki Doki this week?
Gosh, yes. I mentioned episode 19 is one of my favorites. It's both plotfully relevant, how are they going to get the fifth crystal, but it's also not just like Regina steals them or something like that. It's like they actually like compete against each other, and you see Marmo and Ira and Belle actually like kind of being threats a little bit, because turns out they're actually good at bowling when all they do is hang around at a bowling alley all the time. They even mention that like by reference directly. It was so good, and the ways that they had to like think around the way that the other team was cheating. The fact that I can apparently multiply bowling balls was kind of interesting. The fact there was existential horror in this episode, if you think about it for a moment. So what the other team did, what the Disdains did, is they brought the bowling pins to life. They were like mini Disdains, and when, I can't remember who bowled first, I think it was Rika, she throws the ball and it goes down the center lane, and they all jump out of the way. So then what they do is they have Alice throw the ball super hard, and then it looks like they're going to get out of the way, and Makoto starts shooting arrows down like the gutter, the sides of the lane, so they have to jump back into the center. And that's horrifying. You are a sentient bowling pin whose only job is to avoid getting hit by the ball, and now you have a choice. You can get arrowed until you explode, or you can sit there and take the bowling ball to your face.
Is that not a metaphor for capitalism, baby?
That's capitalism, baby. Absolutely.
But yeah, no, that's genuinely horrifying. This was a delightful episode. It didn't make it into the Glitter Force version, which is pretty sad. Basically, What happened was Regina showed up and she went, I've got one crystal. And then she took the other crystals and went, no, I've got all the crystals.
No, what she said was, did you think I was going to steal the crystal? And then there's a flash of light, and then she's holding all of them, and she goes, because you're right. Gosh dang, I know why they cut 19, because it's kind of like a for fun episode, but of all the episodes I wish they had kept, it's a for fun episode.
And there's nothing inherently Japanese about it to confuse American children, so, like, there was no reason to cut it. Ugh.
Yeah. When I read up about it, Glitter Force cuts episodes because they were airing on, I think it was Nickelodeon. It was airing on some network, and that the network required seasons to be a certain length, so the Precure season that they were importing was too long. They'd have to have, like, a weird half season at the end, like a second and a half season. But now that streaming is becoming more popular, I would be interested to see, and I mean, I don't necessarily support Saban kind of editing the references and changing it. I'd prefer just like an official translation to be on Netflix or Hulu or wherever. But I would be interested to see in a parallel universe, could Saban do a better job with the series if they don't have to cut it for time?
Absolutely. You know, we've said before that the current rights holder for Precure in America is Hasbro. I really just want to figure out who to write to at Hasbro so I can be like, hey, you've got this property. I love this property. Let me help you bring it to American children.
Absolutely.
Please, Hasbro. It would be so much fun if we did that.
Absolutely. So, what did you think of the sports episode?
I liked it a lot.
Okay.
I thought it was really fun. I did spend a lot of the episode going, Mana, why do you assume Regina is going to give you the crystal when you win? Like, why would she? She's selfish. That's the whole point. And I mean, Mana's whole thing is that she believes in people. She doesn't have the adult cynicism of a 30-year-old woman. But, you know, like, it doesn't make any sense in universe that the characters would just be like, yes, if we go along with this, it will all work out. And Regina has 1 crystal. They have 4. Betting 4 against 1 is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
You lose so much more if she wins than she loses. You should have bet 1 to 1. Every game you get 1 crystal.
Okay, yeah.
Then you could have done drama with, like, Regina wins 1, but they win 1, and then they get to the end, and, like, the last crystal is, like, they gotta win this.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I will say, I feel like we talked a bit about this off mic before recording, and I basically said Mana basically has 2 sides. She has the blue eyes and the red eyes, and one side is a little bit more, like, open to learning about friendship, and the other one's more selfish. But you kind of pointed out, like, that might be information that we, the audience, have. Maybe it's obvious to us. Maybe it's not obvious to Mana. Maybe if the red eyes is kind of like a possession or like an evil spirit or like a negative energy that's inside of her heart, maybe you can't just like reason and make that go away. But I still think that it makes sense thematically. Like you pointed out, Mana wants to believe in Regina. And again, there was an obvious shift in her personality. So maybe the hope is if we show her empathy and kindness and like trust, maybe that trust will be rewarded. And it turned out kind of, sort of, which I think leads us into the mountain episode. Do you have anything else about the, okay. So first off, Alice has an Alice copter, which is clearly a reference to the Thanos copter from the comics.
Raquel straight up calls Alice's butler Batman.
Yes, that is in the fan sub, so I'm sure that in the original maybe they didn't say that.
Oh, I thought I heard him say Batman.
Oh, maybe. I'm very bad at listening to the Japanese and reading the subtitles. But first off, they have a helicopter. Second of all, they put I in this super cute hoodie to make sure that she's warm when they go to...
Where did they find a hoodie that was, like, shaped to go around her little heart-shaped hair buns?
Sebastian is a master of everything, so he just sewed that. He just, like...
Okay, so you know how they're coming out with a Batman butler show?
They
like
have
a show
4
about
seasons.
Alfred?
Yeah. It has its 4th season. And they changed it used to be called Pennyworth, but then they realized maybe people might not know what this show is. They might think it's like, well, another podcast I listened to suggested that maybe people thought that it would be like a Downton Abbey type show instead of one about the butler. So now it's officially been renewed for its 4th season, and the title has been changed to Pennyworth: Batman's Butler.
There's 4 seasons already?
Yep, uh-huh.
I didn't even think this show had come out.
What is time?
What is time? My God. Anyway, I was getting to a point. I want a show about Alice's butler's backstory more than I want a show about Alfred.
Okay, yeah,
I'm interested in Sebastian as a person. Right? How did he come to be a butler for a 12-year-old girl?
Yeah.
And he has all these skills. Was he like a mercenary and then her father saved him and lifted him up into high society and he was like, I will repay my debt to this family?
I think you just nailed it on the head. Absolutely. But, okay, so we got some of the smaller notes out of the way. The most important thing is when Mon and Regina fall down the crevasse and they find the queen, who's trapped in like a Neryu's Love type crystal if you've ever played Ocarina of Time. But when Regina sees her, it like dispels the evil that was in Regina's heart. Her eyes turn back to blue. She kind of looks around. She's kind of like, whoa, what happened? And when Mom's like, you were acting really mean. She was like, oh, really? And then she kind of like, she seems actually apologetic when she goes, here, please take the crystals. If she were truly evil and truly selfish, that would have been a trick. She would have, like, quickly taken the crystals from the one remaining crystal from Mana or whatever, and then she would have, like, I don't know, shot her or something. But it seems like she's back to normal, and then the Disdains just kidnap her because she's no longer useful as an ally, but she is useful as a hostage to make sure that the Precure don't come after them. So...
yeah, I mean, that's exactly in line with what a group of selfish people would do, I guess.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about the Queen.
Yeah.
Who I keep wanting to call Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, she's Marie Angelica, I think.
Yeah, she is not a let them eat cake queen. Do you think that's really her? And do you think that they will be able to get her out of the ice? Or do you think that's like a simulacrum of her?
Very fancy word there. Okay, so I think that it's really her, but I'm confused as to how she ended up in a mountain trapped in a crystal. That doesn't really jive with me. Maybe that's a respawn point. Maybe every time something happens to her, she appears there.
It's a Lazarus vector.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really her. I don't think they'll be able to get her out right away. I think that's going to be the tension in the next couple of episodes, is the Precure have to try to figure out how to save her before the Disdains are able to, like, undo the crystal. Maybe Regina escapes, you know? She seems like she's going to be the next cure. She seems like she is on their side now. She could escape, grab the crystal and run and come back to, like, Mana's house or something like that.
Okay, yeah. Maybe she bites one of them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Can you imagine if, like, she's still selfish enough to be, like, a dick to the Mercenares, but not so selfish that she's gonna keep the crystal?
Absolutely. That would be fantastic. I honestly got confused for a second, and I thought you were saying that the queen was going to bite them. Like, they unthaw her, and she, like, tries to, like, punch or slap or something, and they just catch her hand, and then she just, like, I
mean, it seems like she could. No, Regina. Also, it's incredibly Precure of Regina to see a pretty lady and go, you were looking for this pretty lady the whole time? I've mended my ways. Have the crystal.
Absolutely. No, it feels to me like the queen literally has, like, the power of light that you see in fantasy all the time. And so, like, she was able to turn the selfish king to stone. And I just think that, like, whatever energy is making Regina turn into bad bitch Regina, it can't exist in the presence of this queen who exists as, like, a holy spirit. Not in that way, though. Not the Holy Spirit, but a holy soul.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I also think that by the end of the season, that's what Mana's going to become. She will inherit the same power that's developing inside of her as she also learns about friendship and opening up and all this other stuff and being selfless.
Yeah. No, I really like that. And I mean, I think that kind of captures all of my thoughts on these episodes. Did you have anything you wanted to add, or were there any major differences you wanted to call out from Glitter Force?
I can't remember any of the really major differences on the mountain episode.
They didn't say Batman.
No, they just said that, like, wow, he has a lot of skills or something like that. But that's actually copyright problems, you know?
No, I figured.
Yeah. But I will say, so when the snowman Disdain in episode 20 shows up, Marmo does, like, a go get him and waves her hand, and she almost hits Ira, and Ira kind of, like, ducks under it, and he looks annoyed. Episode 19 also ended with the three of them kind of arguing with each other, and that's how the Doki Doki girls won the dodgeball game, is that the Disdain started taking each other out. And so I think we're really going to see an episode where the teamwork of the Disdains is put to the test and they break down. Even more so than what we saw in episode 19. It'll be like, they'll be at the castle and there'll be, like, the three guards or whatever to make sure that no one can get in. And the Doki Doki girls will show up and they'll be like, all right. And Marm will be like, Ira, you attack Rika. And then he'll go and he'll attack Alice or something, and she's like, what are you doing? And they'll be fighting so much that Mana can hit them with the heart shoot arrow or whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay, but I think that's everything. Thoughts from the crew. Interestingly enough, we got thoughts on each of these episodes from our two most common contributors. So James's only thought on Doki Doki 19 was Regina Squid Games. And I mean, I could see that, except they're not getting eliminated. Could you imagine if they did that? Like, you play a series of games, and each game the Disdains win, they can put one of the Precure, like, quote-unquote, in jail. And then every game the Precure win, they can put one of the Disdains, quote-unquote, in jail. And then the final match could be Regina v. Mana.
Okay.
In, like, a one-on-one basketball game or something.
That would be awesome.
Or a rap battle.
All right, Joel.
Yeah.
My challenge for you.
Yes.
For the next week. Do you want to play the part of Regina or Mana?
You probably want to be Regina. I could be Mana.
Okay, so you have to write Mana's side of the rap.
Mana's, what's it called? Diss track against Regina.
Yes, absolutely. Mia Khalifa. No, don't look that up.
Okay, the other thought was from AU on Delicious Party. The episode was wholesome as heck, and it's the fact that Ran was the one that taught Kome Kome that it's okay to be a little weird. Because, I mean, I guess all three girls are a little weird in their own ways. I mean, Kokone is kind of like she's not super talkative, and she doesn't quite know what friendship is, but everyone loves her. Whereas Ran had her whole arc, so it's good to see Ran passing on what she learned to Kome Kome, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it was very wholesome and nice.
Excellent. Looking ahead, I have one guiding question for you. If I'm right, and the next episode is somehow Amane Kome Kome focused, or we eventually get an episode that's Amane Kome Kome focused, can you think of anything, I don't know, obvious, I guess, that Amane could teach Kome Kome?
Narcistoru will just be beating the shit out of the Precure.
Okay.
And he'll knock down Yui and Kokone and Ran.
He'll have transformed into his Zarbon werewolf form that I've been predicting.
Yes, and Amane will be doing her best to hold him off, but she's about to be defeated too. And Kome Kome will be like, I'm just a Kome Kome, what can I do? And Amane will be like, you can fight, Kome Kome. You can stand up and you can defend your friends. And that'll be the lesson that she teaches.
Oh, shoot. You know what I just realized?
Tell me.
Maybe the episode where Kome Kome and Pam Pam got into a fight was the theoretical Kome Kome Amane episode, because Amane was like, you care about your friend, so you should do something. Oh, that's too bad.
But that means we have a Kokone or a Kome Kome Yui to look forward to.
Okay, the episode where, they do a reverse, where Yui turns into a giant human onigiri, and Kome Kome just opens her mouth and swallows it whole.
I just realized we could get an episode where there's a body swap between the fairies and the Precure.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
I would love that. Episode title for next week is Slight Spoilers, because Toei hates us.
So, episode 28 of Delicious Party Precure is titled Kome Kome's Power for Everyone, Party Candle Tact. Which, I agree. It's too bad that the spoilers are in the title, but as Magical Girl AU pointed out in our Discord, it turns out that a lot of Japanese titles for shows are much more direct, and in the English version we're a little bit more, sneaky, and AU basically, I assume it was a joke, but basically Japanese people don't have time to read, the summaries, they just need all the information right there in the title. So, Candle Tact. It's interesting that it's going to be a candle. Is it going to be like a birthday cake?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm really excited. The Climatact is the weapon that Nami uses in One Piece, and it's a big staff, and it can do cool shit. So I'm looking forward to a birthday candle staff that they can swing around and whap Narcistoru in the balls with.
And of course, Nami's sticks are connected by a rope that when she unties it creates different levels of wind. So maybe it'll be Laffy Taffy and red vines that hold these tacks together.
Maybe. And that has been your
Doot. Final thought. Outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone. And don't forget, fox ears are freaking cute.
I'm gonna go eat some tacos now, because food brings smiles. Thank you all for joining us for another delicious plateful of
Cure of the What Now.
Please take a moment to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, a like, or lick that subscribe bell so you know when the new episodes are going up.
Did you just say lick it?
Well, yeah, we're baking delicious foods. It's a delicious party.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at PirateGhostHost. Please don't lick me.
Can you even lick a ghost? I'm on Twitter at Kotwin_pod.
KOTWN_pod.
Absolutely. And as always, the Discord link is in the Twitter bio and also in the YouTube description.
Come join us for weekly discussions, streams, and all of the Precure your heart can handle. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yum. Or no, I'm full!